Hello, Sunbeams. Welcome to Sunshine Realms. My name is Sunshine. Let's get into the collective energy. If you have found me, this is definitely on your timeline. I appreciate you for being here. I hope everyone is doing well. Let's tap into the cosmic energy for today, for the collective, and anyone who is meant to be here at this time. Thank you, Spirit. Trickery and dominance. So many of you might be dealing with a situation around you that could be trying to control your narrative or trying to gain some sort of control over your narrative. And it could be something that you might not have seen, or it could be an individual in your life or a situation in your life that is overwhelming your circumstances, overwhelming your situation right now, or just being an overwhelming energy. It could be something that you didn't see coming, or it could be something where you might not have realized something was happening in the background, or you might not have seen something happening in the background. Let's get an animal oracle so that I can find out what the archetype is for this trickery and dominance. But you could have had an inkling, the goose with inner knowing. You could have had some indication from spirit or some indication from this situation in general. You are a brave traveler. Your soul knows the way. Be confident you will achieve your destination. Loyal friends are always with you. Don't worry, you are blessed. Let yourself fly. This inner knowing card sometimes comes from spirit, or it could be the people in our lives that help us navigate and allow us to see things that we didn't see before. So this inner knowing could be something that you had a feeling about, but it was definitely going on. You might have been like an onlooker. You weren't looking straight ahead, or you might have been looking in another direction, and before you knew it, you were in a situation that was dominating your life, or it could be just overwhelmed. It could be something that could just be overwhelming you, your work-life balance, or your family life. It could be your family life, and it could be something that you knew was going to be overwhelming, or it could just be a season of overwhelming energy, where you have seasons in your life where you're super busy and you're putting all of the pieces together, and you just don't see something that might have come out of the blue, or you just didn't have some sort of indication that something was happening in the background. I'm going to pull a card for this trickery so I'll know where the energy could have come from, because that's very important. This trickery could be just something you weren't looking for, or looking at, or didn't have an indication existed. King of Pentacles and Six of Cups. So it could be something that came out of the blue or came up from the past. It could be something that has to do with finances, or the way you perceive finances, or the way that you perceive abundance. It could be something that threw you off kilter, or it just made things bubble up from the past that you thought that you had healed, or you thought that you had healed from, or you had closed a wound or closed a door. And it could be just something that's lurking in the background, trying to re-enter, and it's trying to re-enter into your energetic space, or trying to claim some sort of presence in your life, or it could be someone working too hard right now, and it's because there's a childhood wound, maybe of lack where you're sort of storing things away. You have the tendency to store things or hoard things away. That could be a wound that has not been closed or has not been healed yet, and it's because you want to control a narrative in your life so that you don't experience loss, or you don't experience something where something gets away from you. I get the feeling that someone might be trying to use past memories of lack, not having enough, to control their narrative so that their life doesn't go off kilter, or so that their resources or their abundance doesn't go off track. Okay, so someone might be trying to gain control over themselves or gain control over their lifestyle so that something does not revert back to something that might have happened in the past. That's very distinct right now. There's someone trying to control themselves so that a situation doesn't get out of hand. That's what I'm getting. They're trying to control themselves so that something does not get out of hand. But it could also be just an aspect of your life that you did not see coming, and you're trying your best to take the reins back so that you don't lose control. That's a lot. This is very emotional for someone. But I get there's a distinct feeling from the past that they're trying to avoid. What's this King of Pentacles spirit? Thank you. Sometimes when the trickery card comes out, it's indicating something that Spirit is trying to let us know about so that we can gain control over something as well. Eight of Pentacles, work-life balance. Knight of Pentacles, long-term investments. So if you're in this energy and you're trying to, and I'm not saying trying, I mean you are in this energy where you are exuding a lot of effort in order to make some sort of progress past an old way of being. And that is requiring you to either be a little bit, how do I say that? Be a little bit shady, about your moves right now. Why is there's a reason for this. Let's get a cosmic energy on that, because it's giving off the impression that, yeah, someone doesn't want to lose control of something. Trickery with joy. Joy is the dance of the soul. Enjoy every moment. So like I said, this could be someone who's trying to maintain a lifestyle, and it's causing them to have to maneuver a lot in order to maintain that lifestyle. But it's sort of like saying, like, you're at a point where you're trying to control a narrative in your life, but you already know that it's going in a new direction, or you already have an inclination that it's going in a new direction. So you might be exuding too much control or too much dominance, or too much, you might have your hands in too many pots here. What's this dominance here? Grace. Grace is the universe's blessing. Open your heart to receive it. Interesting how grace and inner knowance with dominance is here. So you might be acting as if you have all the answers, and you might not see something that Spirit is helping you do, or helping you, or trying to show you. Because I feel like this inner knowing is something that you're going towards. you're working towards, but you're having to maneuver in ways that are self-focused. You have yourself to consider. So if you're in an energy where you're putting a lot of work in to heal a past aspect of yourself, and it's causing your work life to not be balanced because you're trying to take the reins and control something to a point where you have no wiggle room, then Spirit is asking you to rein it in and to come out of this this shade or this umbrella. Come out of this umbrella and face something wholeheartedly without having to put out all of this work, because I feel like there's something that is coming in that you should be getting ready for. Let's find out what that is, because the effort is being put out. Oof. All right, that makes a lot of sense. I hate to say this, but this makes a lot of sense. Okay, we have the Queen of Swords reversed and the Four of Swords reversed. And this is what I was getting earlier with the World and the Sun. Someone is trying their best to avoid an outcome, and it's triggering an inside wound, a childhood wound. It's triggering something within them that they are trying their best to avoid. And that has to do with resources, abundance, work, the energy they've put out to get to this point in their life. It has a lot to do with work-life balance here and taking the reins to gain control of something. And when you're in this energy, it could cause you to be burned out, stressed out, and a little bit, I heard stingy. That's for someone. Someone's hoarding, significantly hoarding their energy or hoarding their resources, are being very pinched right now. Very pinched with what they have access to. It's either they have no energy or they have no, their mind is too cluttered, or their home life is just stifling. Spirit is watching someone's, I heard, performance change. So if you're in an energy where you're trying to control a narrative and you're becoming a person that you might not recognize, or you're becoming someone who might be a little bit aggressive or cold or methodical, but in a negative way, like you're doing things that you probably never had to do, and it's because you're trying to avoid the fall of something or the loss of something or the wound of something. It's as if you're trying to avoid something from happening that has happened to you before. And because you're trying to maintain this dominance and having to say things or do things or put energy behind things that you might not have had to do for a long time, it's because you're trying to prevent something from falling, or you're trying to stay in a narrative that is falling down, and you know it's falling down. And Spirit is asking you to lean into it with grace and joy. Lean into the changes. Having this resistance here it's not good, because the more resistant you are, the bigger the wound is going to get. The wound is just going to open up and open up and open up. And before you know it, you're going to be in pain. You're going to be stressed out. You're going to be burned out. You're going to lose sleep. Your health is going to start being impacted by you just not being able to flow with where Spirit is taking you. And the fact that you've stepped into an energy where you're having to say things or do things that you might not have had to do in a long time. This could be changing your makeup or changing who you are. It's as if you're a completely different person in terms of your work-life balance, or how you work, but it's not going in the right direction. It's going in the wrong direction. And Spirit is asking you to reel that energy in and get a grip on it before it gets out of control. I am getting the distinct feeling that someone's work life, home life is in turmoil. Let's get an indicator for this childhood wound that is causing someone to feel sort of aggressive. Hope, a beam of light. Hope is a beam of light in the darkness. So this lets me know that someone is struggling with the fall of something, or the fall of someone in their life, meaning someone is literally leaving their life in terms of them falling away, and someone is holding on to this energy for a reason that is very detrimental. Someone in the collective is holding on to memories of a person that doesn't exist, or past actions, or the past version of a person. And this needs to be released. It's almost as if you are manipulating yourself to believe that controlling something or dominating something is going to take you further. And actually, you are losing control of it. Especially with this trickery. So someone's mind space is just not in the right frame of mind. It's because they might be afraid of losing something, or going down a pathway that they were once on and at one point in their lives. What is that, Spirit? Thank you. There it is. 10 of Pentacles. Hierophant. This is the old way of being. The old way of being, you might have been taken care of. You might have had a lot where you could work with. You might have had more than enough. And you might have been in a space where you were free to explore, free to live, free to give. You just had financial freedom, or you had resources that were up the wazoo. You had a lot to work with, and Spirit gave you a lot because that was the energy you were in. And whoever this is, they're trying to avoid losing their grip on that paradigm. But Spirit is saying you're already there. You're in denial. You're in denial about where you are in your life. And instead of you allowing Spirit to work freely through you and take you down a new pathway, you're literally resisting the pathway. You're resisting the pathway that Spirit is trying to take you down in order for you to heal the childhood wound. It's not about hoarding and holding on to memories of having abundance and holding on to memories of having more than enough. You're trying to control that narrative and stay in that narrative. And Spirit is just like, no, I'm trying to take you further. I'm trying to take you through the darkness so that you can find even brighter light and even greater level of joy, an even greater level of grace, an even greater level of you. This is your pathway. But what you're doing is you're trying to maneuver in a way that even Spirit doesn't recognize. Spirit is looking at you like, what are you trying to do here? Are you trying to stay, hoard, and stay where you are? Or are you trying to go somewhere further? Are you trying to grow? Or are you trying to stay the same? And whoever this is in the collective might be trying to stay the same. You don't see the abundance ahead of you. You don't see the joy ahead of you. You don't see the hope ahead of you. All you see is, I'm trying to avoid darkness right now. I'm trying to control my situation so that I don't lose whatever it is that I've worked hard for. This could be a family. This could be a situation where you have children. This could be a situation where you've created an entire lifestyle based on having more than enough. And now Spirit is having you face being stressed out, in lack of some kind, teaching you lessons about pushing yourself way too hard to stay in a narrative. And now you're heartbroken. You're in pain. You're silently crying behind closed doors because spirit can see you. Spirit can see you crying, feeling like you don't have enough, feeling like your entire world is going to end if you don't get this money. Wow. Okay, that's for someone. So the more you fight to go in a certain direction, the more spirit is going to slow you down, because that is clearly not the direction you're supposed to be going in. You're supposed to be elevating in some kind of way. Let's find out what the elevation is. It's like you're fighting your way out of one paradigm because you want to stay in it when spirit's trying to take you higher. The collective can be struggling with this. This is fine. Let's try to get them out of here. What is the medicine, spirit? Inspiration. Inspiration is everywhere. Capture your ideas. You might need to tap into new energies. You might need to surround yourself around completely new people. You might need to find you a new job, or whatever it is that's stressing you out or making you want to stay here or not leave here or not leave this paradigm. You might need a whole new community around you. You might need to surround yourself with people who help you through this darkness. Is that what you're resisting? Is the collective resisting having to embrace a new community or embrace a new location? Especially here with this Page of Wands, having to relocate, having to find something new, having to set down roots somewhere else. Are we resisting that? Especially with this goose. Are you resisting going in a new direction? I feel like spirit is really frustrated with someone who has lost some sort of hope or faith in their ability to manifest, in their ability to create more, in their ability to leave something that's clearly not serving them, that's stressing them out and causing them to have a lot of anxiety. What's the inspiration, spirit? Let's get them out of this medicine. What is this medicine? How can we inspire them to go forward? There we go. Luck. This is what spirit is trying to take you towards: a new community, abundance, more than enough. But you're stuck here trying to control where you are right now, and spirit is like, okay, so you don't want to go over here? This is not where you want to be? You don't want to be in abundant energy? Who doesn't want to be in abundant energy? Who doesn't want more than enough? And it's because you might have lost it, or you might be in a situation where you don't have it right now. But from experience, I can tell you the wheel does turn. Cycles do close. Cycles do complete, and they close out. And we are supposed to be aligning ourselves with newness. So if you're not aligning yourself with something that is new, then that is the work that you need to do. Work on being able to be agile, be able to be flexible, to be a receiver, and to receive whatever it is that spirit has placed on your heart without being bitter or cold or manipulative about how you're using your blessings. What's the inspiration, spirit, and the luck? Look at this. Judgment reversed. Self-doubt, lacking self-awareness. So you're not seeing the truth from spirit. You're not seeing where spirit is trying to take you. If you did, then you would be upright. You would be moving in the direction that spirit has guided you to go. This inner knowing lets me know that you've been guided. So the collective already knows that they're supposed to be leaving a situation, but instead of doing that, you're trying to stay in something that's not serving you. So this has a lot to do with our emotional spaces. Self-doubt and lack in general has a lot to do with how we were raised or how we learned how to be who we are. And spirit is saying, this is a past version of you. You are supposed to be aligning with something that is higher than who you once were. So elevation is on the table. And if you're not working on elevating your paradigm, then you're going to stay in this heartbreak. But the first thing that I can offer as solace and medicine for anyone in this energy is to write down the pros and the cons of where you are right now. And if your pros outweigh your cons, then stay there and do work in that area. But if your cons outweigh your pros, then you need to map out a plan to get out of there, because this is a point of reckoning. This is a point where you need to make a decision. Where are you going? Are you going to stay here in a place where you are stressed out and having to maneuver and do things that you might not have expected to do in order to stay in this paradigm? Or do you want to surrender, let go, and allow spirit to move you in a whole new direction? And that direction is going to require you to elevate in some way, or shift the way you think of yourself, or shift the way that you think of your situation. Because when inspiration and luck is here and it's flanked by self-doubt and lacking self-awareness, this lets me know that the collective is wanting abundance, but they don't know how to get there. What's the archetype that we can tap into, Spirit, for where you'd like for the collective to go? The call. What is the call? I feel like we're being called in a direction that we're not allowing to just happen organically. There's resistance for a reason. What's that one? Wow. That's a big one. You are the creator and magician. Use your gifts for good. There is power in your wisdom and words. Connect with the elemental spirits and glide through the void. Claim your place as keeper of the mysteries. And that Raven card is a shaman card. So we're being called to higher realms. So if you are stuck and stagnant in a paradigm, a job, a situation where you're not making progress, Spirit is calling you to step higher. Use your voice, use your gifts, use your talents, because you focused on being money oriented is causing stagnation in your life. You focusing on pentacles and not the elevation of the heart space and going towards joy and compassion and grace and inspiration and coming out of this dark spaces, it has a lot to do with someone's story. So you might need to have a better relationship with your higher self. How do you tap into your higher self? You tap into your higher self by meditating, by being in quiet spaces and being in nature and doing things that bring you peace, whatever peace means to you. However you tap into meditation or a space of meditation. I get the distinct feeling that someone likes to ride a bike. So if you like to ride a bike, then let that be your meditation. If you like to walk, let that be your meditation. If you like to cook, let that be your meditation. Clean, whatever it is, whatever your juice is to rejuvenate you, whatever it is that you do in order to bring you back to a space of peace, do that so that you're not in this resistance energy and you're losing your momentum. Spirit is calling you to higher realms, being able to come full circle from a place of having it all, going down on the wheel and then coming back up on the wheel. That's the whole cycle. We're not going to have everything all the time, but how do you pivot when you're at the bottom? How do you pivot when you are in a space where you are lacking, where you are lacking direction or lacking inspiration or lacking hope or lacking luck? It's there, but it might not be in your paradigm because you're in the energy of resistance rather than surrender. So if you've made it this far and you're part of the collective who's trying to push through a turbulent time, reorganize your navigation skills. Reorganize the way that you move on the earth, because we're all navigating something in our lives where we're being asked to come out of a dark space or come out of darkness. How are you doing that so you can turn the wheel upright again and get to a space where you have a reprieve or a breath of fresh air or some movement or some flexibility in your work-life balance? Because if you don't get to that point anytime soon, you're going to stay in this dark space. Move the wheel forward. So hopefully you've taken a nugget from today's reading. And if you have, please feel free to hit the like button. I'd appreciate it. If you have any questions, you can leave a comment in the comment section. I'd greatly appreciate that as well. Thank you for being here, sharing sacred space with me. Have a great day.